This Zikota, the drink I said, when I have it with a group of men, I convert that into a beer. And then the prices I get are phenomenal. Okay. All right. Let me start with something which already very popular. I will not say myth, but something highly exaggerated thing, and that is called multitasking. Okay. Today, in the recent past, we have been hearing a lot about multitasking. I'm sure all of you drive cars, most of you at least, majority of you, or you have a chauffeur. Okay? Many of you drive, many of you may have chauffeur. Let us say you are driving a car and listening to the music which is played on the CD player or video player earlier. You are listening to the music comfortably driving. You come to a junction which is very busy. And then you suddenly realize that, look, if you don't really pay good attention to your driving, somebody might come under your car. So you start attending to the driving really, and then look here, look there, and then go through the junction. Once you go to the other side of the junction, the road is again free, you start again listening to the music. You have missed the part of the music that was played when you were crossing the junction. Am I right? All of you agree with me? In a really busy junction, you just don't listen to the music. Then what multitasking are we talking? You can't drive and listen to music. We are excellent at listening to the music, you are excellent at driving, and still you can't these two things together. So what multitasking are we talking? It is to me, multitasking, you know, people say, oh, we are very good, ladies are very good at multitasking, etc., etc. I think it's all hype, okay? And you cannot do two things at a time. If somebody is talking now on phone, and when they finish the phone, and if you ask them what I said during that time, they will not be able to tell you. You all agree with me? So multitasking, don't believe in multitasking, that's what I will tell you. So if you are doing an important negotiation, if it is face to face, switch off your mobile, switch off your computer, focus on negotiations. If you try to do two things at a time, you will end up doing both things subpar, inefficiently, not optimally, and you won't even know it. That is the danger. So if you are doing negotiations, important negotiation, maybe with husband, or with boss, or with client, please switch off everything else and focus only on negotiations. The amount of efforts that we take to switch from task to task, like, you know, negotiating and then you pick up a phone, talk to them, something else, then again come back. This itself is very difficult. It takes time to come to the same level of concentration. So if you are doing negotiations, please do not, important negotiations, please do not do multitasking. Out of question. Not only negotiation, but anything that is important. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a color mic? Do they have? Color mic? As I would like to move around a little bit rather than stand here, okay? Give me 1 minute, I will come back to you. I will give the answer, okay? Give me 1 minute, okay? I have not completed the whole thing, but why I'm saying, when I say, that's what I said, if you're doing anything important, okay, you will do things, don't do anything else. All right, let me ask you a question. Why do we communicate? Okay? Yeah. Okay, now she has hit the, what's your name, madam? Please give her a big hand. Okay, we communicate because we want not just to express, but we want the other person to accept what we are saying. To do or not to do what we want him or not do or not to do. Or it may be a thought which you are conveying and you want that person. That person is a Congress party supporter and you are a BJP supporter or other way around, and you are trying to convince that other party, no, your party is wrong, my party is correct. So you want the other party to accept what you are saying and accept it. Now, is it very difficult different from negotiations? How? But that is what she said we have to do with communication. You want the other party to accept. In negotiations you don't listen? I will come to another point with you, that even in negotiations you may be on the same phase on number of issues. There are a number of issues, not all. Not all. Okay. Not all. So what she said was, when we communicate so that the other people accept what we are saying, behave or do things the way we want them to do. And it is very close to negotiations. There are very few communications which are not negotiations. Okay? Very few communications. Let me give you one example. Husband and wife are working. They are planning a vacation, say in December. Now they are in October now. We are in October. The wife is going to work and the husband will go later. So when she is leaving the house, she says, oh, I think this year for a vacation, let us go to a beach resort and not to a hill station. Is it a communication or negotiation? Negotiation, he said. She has started the negotiations for that. She has started the negotiation. See, our idea of negotiation is that we sit across the table or talk on phone and then we negotiate. It is not so. Okay? Okay, let me come back to one point. Now, in the next 1 hour, you might hear some ideas which you already know. Definitely you will be knowing because you are all negotiating and working. So you will know, you will say, yes, I agree with this. There could be some where you will not agree, like, Madam is not agreeing with me. It is up to you to decide whether to accept that thought and to what extent what I am saying is valid. You might find, okay, it is 50% valid or 75% valid, it doesn't matter. Give a thought to this, what I am saying. And there will be third decision where you say, oh, I never thought of this. Okay? So those will be totally new, but something, because if I am going to say everything that you agree with, then why do you need me? I am going to say some things which shake your beliefs, and then only I think it is worthwhile for me to come from Bangalore to here. Otherwise, there is no point in coming here. So, what I am saying is, most of the communications are negotiations. There are very few communications which are not negotiations. There are some of them, but leave that aside. Now go to your question 6 or 7 where I've said, how do you rate yourself on skills? There is communication skill and a negotiation skill. And multitasking, yes. Now look at that and then see whether you want to revise your views. You want to revise your views, you know. You may not. I'm not at all insisting that what I am saying, everything will be acceptable to you. Okay? There will be some things which you will say, no, this is not what I believe. But I seriously say that you give a thought. I will tell you why I am saying that again. Okay? So give a thought to it. Just give me 1 minute, I will come to multitasking. I told that lady, I will come to that. Okay, why this happens that when we are driving comfortably, we are able to listen to the music. And why we are not able to listen to music when we are crossing that junction? No, it is not. It is not concentration. It is not concentration. No. You see, we have 2 systems with which we work minimum. We have 2 systems. Please remember, see this, because this is something which we not really come across every day. Hardly we listen to this. We work with 2 systems. Now, for example, I will give an example. When you are driving learn the car, what do? You say, oh, that fellow is coming. Let me reduce the speed. Let me brake. Let me do this. Let me do that. You are so conscious of learning the driving. And maybe after you get the license also for a month and a half, you are extremely conscious of driving. You can't do anything else. You say, no, let me not listen to the music now, let me drive. Okay? And become good expert at that. Once you become an expert, say a couple of months, 3 months down the line, then you don't really worry about accelerating, braking, everything, nothing else. This is because we operate with two systems. Everything that you learn, like driving, or any skill that you learn with, let us, what we can call for convenience, system 2. Okay? We learn with system 2. Now system 2 is slow. It is not fast. Number 2, it consumes a lot of energy. Remember, all human beings are extremely lazy, including me. Okay? We want to reduce the energy expenditure as much as possible. So what happens is, once we become expert in anything or skillful in anything, that task is taken over by what I call system 1. It is taken over by system 1. Now the system 1 is very fast. It consumes extremely low energy. And it also manages emotions. Okay? It also manages emotions. System 2 is slow, consumes a lot of energy. And third, it manages your cognitive processes. The cognitive processes is multiplication, addition, logical thinking, etc., etc. Now this is system 2. Okay? When you learn the driving, you are with system 2. It gets switched over to system 1. We don't even realize that is what is happening, but as we become experts, system 1 takes over and it starts driving. And then, when you are at a busy intersection, again system 2 takes over. Because that time you will have to focus on the work and you need to understand what is happening. So there is more cognitive process there than when you are driving on a free road. Your cognitive faculties get engaged in driving when you are when you are driving at the junction. Whereas earlier, your system 1 was driving the car, your system 2 was listening to the music. I hope you got the answer now. You can do two things at a time, reasonably accurately, provided one is done by system 1 and another done by system 2. So possibly, cooking is for ladies, most of the ladies cooking is system 1. They don't have to think consciously. So it's not system 2. So at the same time, you can talk to your friend on phone or to your husband or tell children what they are doing in studies, because your system 1 is operating there. But if you try to do things with system 2 at the same time, then there is a problem. And that's why I told you that when you are negotiating something important, please do not do multitasking. Am I clear? Okay. Number 5, I hope, answer, and then we have covered that. All right. One of the important questions which I always face when I'm talking about negotiations is, why do we need to learn negotiations, or can we learn negotiations? Both. What happened really is, when I studied management at Bajaj Institute in 1973-75, that time we had only 4 institutes in India: IIMA, IIMC, IIMB was not there, and then St. Xavier, XLRI, and Bajaj. We had only 4, and total intake was 200 numbers. When we were studying that, the debate that used to go on is whether management can be learnt at all. Then slowly in the next few years, the question came, people accepted that yes, management can be learnt. Then after 5-10 years or around that time also, other debate was, can we learn communication? Can we learn communication? Today you say very confidently yes, but if you listen to the people that time talking, you will realize that it was a big debate. And the same thing about negotiations today. People are still apprehensive about learning negotiation skills. Like management and negotiations, like management and communication, we can definitely learn negotiation skills. The only thing is, what you are learning today here is in system 2. If you want to be a skillful negotiator, you need to practice it and switch it over to system 1. So once you go out of this class, you are not going to be a skillful negotiator. Your negotiation skills will not improve drastically. They will improve a little bit, but they will improve limited way. If you keep practicing whatever we are discussing here, then your skills, you will really become a skillful negotiator. Okay? Like you cannot learn cycling by reading a book on it or swimming on reading a book on it. What I'm giving you today is maybe some knowledge, information. You will have to practice it. So please remember that. That is why when she told me what will happen after the session, I was a little afraid that I might disappoint you. Okay. In the last 20 years, there is huge amount of work has been done on negotiations. Okay? In Harvard, in various management schools. Today, in most of the good management schools, including IIMs, we have full-time faculty for negotiation skills, which was not there maybe about 10 years back. So negotiation skill is now accepted as something which everybody needs to learn. All right, now let us go to the next question, which is number 4. Are you more comfortable negotiating with stranger than with a near and dear one, say spouse, sibling, or your child? You are more comfortable dealing with them? Okay. Most of them are. Even this is again across, when I take the classes, even men say that, look, we are more comfortable negotiating with strangers than with relations. The reason for that is we use a single negotiation style for negotiations in most of the cases. The way we negotiate with a stranger, possibly we use the same style when we are negotiating with a near and dear one. We don't even realize that that is what we are doing. And some of, or let us put the other way around, whatever we try to use with the near and dear one, we use the same tactics when we are negotiating with strangers. And that is not the way to go about it. Okay. You have put that, fine. There are two types of negotiations. Let me go to that very quickly. One is called distributive and the other one is called integrative. Now, distributive negotiation is zero-sum game or win-lose negotiations. All negotiations are not win-win negotiations. Please remember that. Distributive negotiation. Now, distributive negotiation is one where one party will win and the other party will exactly lose that amount. When I say money, it is everything, all the terms put together. Let us say you are buying a toy at a roadside shop or roadside vendor for your son or daughter or somebody giving as a gift. You like a toy and you say, okay, how much is it? The person says 150 rupees. Then you say, no, 150 is too much. Give me it for 80 rupees. And then you higgle and you come to a price, say 120 rupees. And you buy it for 120. Now you have earned or you have won 30 rupees from this negotiation. 150 minus 120. The seller has exactly lost that amount because of negotiations. Instead of 150, he got 120. Now he might have made a profit of 40 rupees or 50 rupees because he bought that toy at 70 rupees. Doesn't matter. Those 50 rupees we are not talking about. We are talking about only the outcome of that negotiation. Because of that negotiation, he lost 30 rupees and you got 30 rupees. So it is plus 30 minus 30. So if you add that together, it becomes 0. So it is also called a zero-sum game. Distributive negotiation. It's a zero-sum game. Whereas in integrative negotiation, what we normally call win-win. Okay? What we normally call win-win. Before I go with this integrative negotiation, I would like you to tell me what are these A, B and C what you have written down. Sorry, last one. How do you judge a negotiation ended in a win-win? Number 8. What are your answers to that? No, one at a time, because you're not written anything. Okay. Mutual gain, okay. How do you decide that? That's what we are asking. Okay. Okay, both are happy. Not written anything. Okay. Anybody who has written that? Just one second. Okay, fine. Okay, so the relationship did not break. Okay. Okay. Are any of these criteria objective or they are all subjective? Now, if they are subjective, many of you are entrepreneurs, right? You go out and negotiate with clients and come back. How many times it happens that when you negotiate a deal and sign it and come back, when you are signing it, you feel, oh, it's not really very good. Let me complete. You think that, no, it is not very good. I think I should have got a better deal. But by the time you reach home, you have convinced yourself that this was a good deal. Yes. Happens? Now, was it a win-win deal or not then? No, that is different. But you negotiated for yourself, I agree with you. The issue is, if it is a subjective criteria, then how do you really decide? And this happens with all the sales people, including me, because I've been in selling for last 30 years. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not a professor. I've been teaching only for last about 10 years. Earlier, even now I run my own factory, so I'm an entrepreneur. You do a deal, you are very unhappy, you say, nahi yaar, acha nahi hua. Anyway, but let us do it, go with it, go up with it. And then by the time you reach office, you tell your colleague or you tell your friend or your partner, hey, I did a fantastic job. There is something, I will not go into that because we are running short on time, so I will not go into that, why we do that, all that. There are reasons for it. But then if it is a subjective thing, then really it is very difficult to say whether it was a win-win deal. Now the win-win deal comes from integrative negotiation. Now the integrative negotiation is one where there are two issues involved. One is, of course, the substantive issue, which we can call price, terms of payments, etc., etc. And the second thing is the relationship, which is either in the family or with the client or supplier. Okay? Now, the way we negotiate distributive negotiation and this, there is a great difference, and there should be great difference. When you are doing distributive negotiation with somebody, you should be aware that is the relationship high? No. In distributive negotiation, relationship is nearly zero. You are not going to meet that roadside fellow again. So, no, then the relationship is there and it is part of integrated negotiation. Even if it is relationship is involved, it is this integrated negotiation. In distributed negotiation, there are two things to be remembered. Relationship is nearly zero, and the second part is the person with whom you are negotiating, the issue that you are negotiating is generally only one. It is a single issue negotiation. And that is normally price. If you are negotiating a single issue and with a person where there is hardly going to be any relationship in future, it is distributed negotiation. You negotiate hard and try to get the best deal. Okay? That is the strategy we should use when we are doing distributed negotiation. Madam, if you want to come here, you can sit here, if you find it more convenient. Okay, if you are here, it's fine, because then you can see that also. So, if you are in distributed negotiation, single issue, generally price, you negotiate as hard as you want. If you are talking of integrative, it is number of issues are involved. For example, if you are going for a vacation, you have to decide the place of vacation, how many days you are going, where you will stay, whether you will go by air or how will you travel, whether you will take the car. Okay? So there are a number of how many days you will go, which type of hotel will you stay. Are you going to stay at a 5-star hotel, or are you going to stay at a 3-star hotel because it is more conveniently located? So there are various issues involved, and also it is a relationship with husband and children. Where do they want to go? Now you may like to go to a beach resort, but somebody else says, no. Children say, no, we want to go to hill station. So there are a number of issues involved which you want to negotiate. And you negotiate each issue. Now, in integrative, when you are negotiating, the reason why it is called integrative is there is no zero-sum game. It is both of them